Okay, so let's talk about AI. But for a minute, I want you to forget everything you think you know, especially from today's simple chatbots. We are on the verge of a huge shift, and by 2026, the world of work is going to look completely different. So let's dive in, because what's coming next is way more interesting than just asking an AI to write an email for you.
This is the big one, right? The question on absolutely everyone's mind. Is AI coming for my job? You see some wild new demo pop up online and that little bit of anxiety starts to creep in, that feeling of, wait a second, is a machine about to make everything I know how to do totally obsolete?
But here's the thing, and this is really the key to the whole conversation. Asking if AI is going to take your job, well, that's actually the wrong question. Your job title, whether you're an accountant, a marketing manager, or a software engineer, that's just a label, isn't it? It's really just a convenient name for a whole bundle of different things you do all day. The real thing we need to be looking at, the thing AI is actually impacting, is the task. And look, labor economists have seen this pattern play out time and time again. New technology almost never just wipes out an entire job all at once. Instead, what it does is it automates specific tasks within that job, and in doing so, it completely changes the very nature of the work itself. So, to really wrap our heads around this, we have to move beyond the idea of AI as just a chatbot. The technology has taken a monumental leap forward. We're now in the era of what's called Agentic AI, and this is a whole different animal. This isn't just a tool that sits there and waits for you to type in a prompt. No, with an AI agent, you give it a goal. You can say, process this entire folder of invoices, or research our top 5 competitors and build a summary deck. And it just goes and does it. It figures out the steps, uses whatever tools it needs, and executes the whole process on its own. It's less of a tool and way more like a digital employee that's on the clock 24/7.
This really lays out the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way of doing things, traditional automation. Think of it like a simple script. If X happens, then do Y. It's rigid. If anything changes in the environment, the whole thing breaks. But Agentic AI on the right is completely different. You just give it a goal and it figures out how to get there. It's adaptive, it can handle ambiguity, and it orchestrates an entire process, not just one little task.
Okay, so now that we've got this powerful new capability in mind, let's circle back to the job market. How does this agentic tech actually interact with our jobs?
This quote from a research paper just nails the core idea. Your job isn't one single thing. It's like a portfolio of different tasks. And here's the kicker. Some of those tasks are becoming incredibly easy for AI to handle, while others remain stubbornly, uniquely human.
So here's a really simple way to break down any job. It's called the screen, hand, field framework. Think about your own work. How much of it is screen work? Desk work, writing, coding, analyzing things on a computer. Then how much is hand work? Physical stuff like assembling a part, repairing a machine, things that require actual dexterity. And finally, how much is field work? Dealing with people, coordinating teams, and making judgments out in the messy, real world. And this brings us to this fascinating concept called inverted automation. For decades, the common wisdom was that automation would hit routine, manual jobs first. But generative AI has completely flipped the script. It turns out AI is exceptionally good at that symbolic screen work. Meanwhile, trying to automate complex handwork that requires dexterity, that is still incredibly difficult and very, very expensive. And the data absolutely backs this up. When researchers scored thousands of different tasks, they found that jobs in management and STEM, so science and tech, have some of the highest exposure to AI automation. Why? Because so much of what they do is language and information on a screen. But on the flip side, jobs in construction, maintenance, and agriculture show some of the lowest exposure. The old rules are literally being inverted before our eyes. So what does this all mean for the bottom line? How does this inversion translate into a new economic reality? Because this isn't just a theoretical shift, it has massive financial and productivity implications that are going to really show up by 2026. Just take this number. A huge study in 2023 looked at over 5,000 customer support agents. When they gave them an AI assistant to help out, the number of issues they could resolve per hour shot up by 14.2%. That is a gigantic productivity jump, and it happened almost overnight. And that productivity boost? It translates directly into dramatic cost savings. I mean, just look at the difference here. A customer interaction with a human can cost, on average, a few dollars. But an AI agent can bring that cost down to less than 50 cents.
That's a fundamental change in the economics of how companies operate.
What this all adds up to is something called the build cost collapse. The cost to produce any kind of symbolic work, whether it's code, a marketing campaign, a financial report, is just falling through the floor. A project that might have needed a huge, expensive team just a few years ago can now be handled by a much smaller team, supercharged with AI for a fraction of the cost. The amount of leverage you get is just unprecedented.
Okay, so if AI is handling more and more of the actual production, the making of things, what's left for us humans? Well, this is where the story gets really interesting. The human role doesn't disappear, it just shifts to where the new bottleneck in the system is.
The new workflow for pretty much all knowledge work is starting to look like this. Step 1. The AI generates the first draft of something, a report, a piece of code, whatever, at almost zero cost. But you can't just ship that, right? So step 2. A human has to review it. You check it for accuracy, for tone, for strategic context. And then, crucially, step 3. A human integrates that work and takes accountability for it.
So think about what this means. As the cost of crafting that first draft collapses, the economic value, the new bottleneck, shifts. It moves away from the person who can type the fastest or write the cleanest code, and it moves to the person who can most effectively supervise the AI's output.
And we're already seeing this play out in the real world. This research from Workday found that, yeah, we're saving time with AI on the initial creation, but we're losing that saved time to all the rework and integration on the back end. Your job becomes less about making and a whole lot more about checking.
And that leads to this final point. The most valuable skill you can have in the 2026 workplace isn't going to be a technical one like coding. It's going to be the uniquely human ability to exercise judgment. It's about setting a clear goal, defining what good actually looks like, and being willing to take responsibility for the final outcome.
So let's put all these pieces together. When we do, we get a picture of the future that isn't about mass replacement, but about a massive reshaping of how we all work.
All right, let's just quickly summarize the crucial takeaways for 2026. First, always think tasks, not titles. That's where the action is. Second, remember the great inversion. Screen work is getting cheap, making physical hands work more valuable. Third, the new workflow is AI drafts, humans review. Fourth, this is about reshaping roles to create leverage and scale, not just about eliminating them. And finally, the skills that are going to define your career are judgment, strategy, and responsibility. And look, this isn't just my opinion. Major research from firms like Vanguard is reinforcing this exact view. Their analysis suggests that for about 80% of jobs, the impact is going to be a mix of innovation and automation. It's going to be disruptive, for sure, but it absolutely does not have to be dystopian. Which really leaves us with one final thought. AI is getting incredibly good at executing the how. It can build the thing, write the report, analyze the data. The enduring human value, the new center of gravity for all our careers, is owning the why. Why are we doing this in the first place? What's our actual goal? Is this the right thing to do? As AI takes over more and more of the how, the big question for all of us is, are you prepared to own the why?